Hey everyone, how are you? Thanks for joining me. Oh my gosh, welcome to Thursday Night Live on a Sunday morning. Those of you that know me, I do apologise. Normally every Thursday on Cricket for Australians, myself or Natalie go live at 7 p.m, now Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. But unfortunately I was unwell on Thursday and I had to move it to today, which I would normally do my tea for two kind of crafty chat and all of that. So apologies for the delay. Thank you for joining me today. If you're here to learn about how to make your own shaped cards like this one, where I've used the Joker, then you're in the right place. And if not, well, I'm sure if you've got any questions or anything like that, I'll be more than happy to answer. If you are new to my channel, type new in the comments so I can meet you. If you've got a question, put Q in front of your question and that'll just make it a little bit easier for me to find your questions in the comments. But if you've made shape cards before, if this is something that interests you, let me know in the comments as well. I'd love to hear what your experiences are. And by all means, when we go through it today, you can let me know if you would do it completely differently. If you don't know who I am, bit puffed today. My name's Paul and I share all my Cricut product knowledge and expertise so that you can master these incredible machines, and ultimately we want you to make beautiful things. So welcome to my channel. What are you doing today on a Sunday other than joining me? Are you crafting? What's happening in your world? Let's have a look at some of your comments. Erica, you're excited to see this? Excellent. Hope you get a lot out of it. Megan, thank you for asking if I'm feeling better. I definitely am, so thank you. I'm still not quite there yet, but I'm like so much better than I was. You know what the man flu's like, right? Hey girlfriend, thanks for joining today. Got a few people on, which is awesome. Hi Karen, good morning, happy Sunday. If you're on the West Coast as well, let me know if the new time, the time difference now because of us changing onto daylight saving is really throwing a spanner in the works, and happy to look at trying to make it a little bit later or something like that. Originally it was tea for 10 on a Sunday. I was going to go live for 10 minutes at 10 a.m. on a Sunday, but that moved to 11 a.m. to try and accommodate the East Coast, West Coast. So if you're over that way, let me know if it's a bit of a problem and we'll have a bit of a see. Ooh, Kerry is going to make hair bows for her granddaughter. Well, I'm going to show you something really cool in my next segment, which please don't take this too seriously, but last week I had some news. I thought it'd be fun just to have a little image there to talk about what's sort of happening in the crafty space. Not a lot to share, but I did share the same news last week. If you didn't know already, Spotlight, once again, they've got the 2-day deal on the Cricut Joy. It's only $260. I know a lot of you missed out last week, so if you missed out last week, or if you've been thinking about getting a Joy, that price is amazing. So I encourage you, obviously today's the last day, so jump in, click and collect, get it delivered. I think it must be free delivery for that price anyway. So definitely don't miss out on that one. But what I also wanted to show you, I'll just go to my overhead, is I actually got some happy mail this week, and the people at and I just remember, what is her name? She's so lovely. So Victoria at the Little Wombat. Now, if you work a lot with faux leather, you may have heard of the Little Wombat. I have posted a link to their website below, but she sent me just a sample of some of their faux leathers, and she knows that obviously I've got a son and I like sort of those boyish kind of things, so she sent me some really cool faux leathers here. I know it's going to be really a bit difficult to see, but we've got, I'll pull out some so you can see them a little better, but we've got some little sharks and octopus pirates. This is kind of a bit of a, I don't know, Irish Gaelic kind of Viking design. Apologies if I'm offending any Irish people. These cute little robots. It's really lovely, thick faux leather. And these ones, oh my gosh, how cool is this? Graffiti, travel, which is amazing because I'm in the travel industry. And this one I absolutely love, and I've already got a project in mind, probably for my next Thursday Night Live on a Thursday. The cassettes, how cool's that? So 80s, or 90s too, I suppose. Bit of superhero there. Pow, crash, boom. We've got some dinosaurs as well. So if you're interested in some faux leather, by all means check them out, and I will let you know what I make with them when I get a chance to complete those projects. All right, so let's go back to our main camera. So Jan, that was faux leather, just so you're aware. So not paper, but actually faux leather. So I won't be making bows, but I've got some really fun projects planned. Again, I mean, not to sort of play gender stereotypes, but probably some more boyishy projects. So less about bows and more about other things. Hi Maxine, welcome. And Linda saying it's 8 a.m. in Perth, sunny and beautiful, a good time for me. Excellent. All right, so why are we here? We are here to learn how to make these. Let me get my right screen. How to make shaped cards. Now, you can do this with any shape, any design. So it doesn't matter if it is from Cricut Design Space, whether you have Cricut Access or not. I paid for this image. This one was from the new DC Comics selection, which we are now allowed to purchase here in Australia, which is amazing. And there are other countries around the world that can't yet, so we're ahead of the game. But you can use your own images as well, completely up to you. But I just really want to show you because it's a really fun, well, I think it's really fun because often I find an image that I like and I'm like, oh, I'd really love to make that into a card. So I do this quite often. It's quite a popular technique for me. The other thing that I wanted to share with you today as well is in the white piece here, there is, I counted, I think it's about 21 or 23 maybe pieces in the white. Now, if you're going to piece something like this complex together, you can imagine it'd be really hard because if you don't nail it, everything's going to be all out of proportion and it's going to be a hot mess. So I'm going to show you a bit of a technique on how I kind of overcome that problem and make sure that it looks perfect every time. All right, so I'll pop that away. I'm in Cricut Design Space now, so you're all very familiar with this. And what I am going to do is I am going to make this, I'm just going to get rid of some of the things that are on my screen that are in my way. So I'm going to make the same card effectively, the same design. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got a new canvas and I'm going to images. Now again, if you want to make this as a pineapple, you can make it as a pineapple. If you want to make this as a unicorn, you can make this as a unicorn. Same rules apply. Nothing else changes. The fundamentals remain the same. I'm going to search Joker. And here he is. And you can see that I've purchased him. If you wanted to, because individually, you can see down here, the other Joker image is $2.99. And that's what I paid for this one image. If you wanted to buy the whole set, if you go view, how do I get in there? Why is it not going there? Anyway, you can actually view the image set and you can purchase the whole package. It's a little bit cheaper. It's about $27 or something like that. And here is my my image. Okay, so it's the Joker. It's one-dimensional. It's basically flat. It's not a card. It doesn't open in any way. That's what we need to create now with the technique that we're going to do. So I'm not going to be bothered too much at the moment about how large it is. I'm just going to move it slightly out of the way down here so that I can create in the sort of higher part of the screen. Now, with this image, you can see on the right hand side in the layers panel, it has a base layer, like a really large base layer that we could use as a to start creating the base of our card. If it didn't, what I would do is I would copy or duplicate the image. Sorry. So I would select all and I would copy and duplicate the image, or Control or Command C for copy and V for paste. And then if I weld, it will just turn it into one final sort of, fully solid representation of what this entire image would actually look like, okay? But this one has the base layer, so I can select that base layer and I can do Control copy or Command copy, and again I can paste, or again you can use duplicate, and then I get just a base a copy of that very bottom base layer. And this is going to form, of course, half of our card, but we need this card base to open, right? We don't want to just stick this on another flat surface. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to duplicate this base layer again. So again, using the Command or Control C for copy and then V for paste. Now I've got two copies of this base layer, okay, this base kind of image. But again, they're not connected, they're not going to give me exactly what I need. And also what I need to do is I need to give consideration to the fact that this card is going to open, okay? So I can't, whilst that looks correct, ultimately I want to flip that part of the card so that when it comes together and when it's folded, they're going to align perfectly. So I'm going to go up to the top menu options and I'm going to go to flip horizontally. Okay, and now I've got a mirror copy, and hopefully you start to see that when we connect these, that when they close, this piece that is selected will ultimately mirror this and it will be the correct way around. So I hope that's making sense. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. I am going to undo this though, because I just want to show you something else. You could also connect this card at the top if you wanted to. But again, what we would have to do is we'd have to flip this top layer vertically. We would decide where exactly we would join it, and then again, when that folds, when this one would fold down, then again it's going to be around the correct way so that this will ultimately be the front of our card. So you can choose how you want these cards to open. I have had some that have opened on a corner, that have opened right towards the middle, on a weird angle, completely up to you. Ultimately, you need to decide what's going to work best for your design. So again, I'm just going to select this front layer, I'm going to flip it horizontally, and then I'm going to move it to where I'm comfortable that this will make a nice join for my card to open. I'm going to select both of these layers. I'm going to go up to my align in the menu, and I'm going to align either top or bottom. But ultimately, I just want to make sure that they are perfectly aligned across the horizontal. So again, when my card closes, it's going to match up perfectly. Now, I'm going to weld. And that now becomes one solid image that the Cricut will cut as one piece. Now, I don't know if you're joining today, but someone did ask me if you could achieve this on the Joy. Now you could, you'd have to obviously size it accordingly. It would be a pretty small card, but you can't do the next step, which is scoring. And now if you've got an Explore machine, if you've got the Maker, of course we can use a scoring stylus, or we can use the scoring wheel to get that beautiful score line and get those really professional results with our cards. So on the left hand side, I'm going to Shapes. I'm going to click on Score Line, and then I'm just going to move this around to where my card is going to fold, and I'm going to adjust the size accordingly. It doesn't matter if you go a little bit over, because ultimately it's going to score and it's going to cut it out. But I want to make sure that score line is perfectly centered in the middle, okay? So again, we want to make sure when those two halves close, they are going to be spot on and perfect. So again, I'm going to select my base layer and the score line. I'm going to align, and I'm going to align center horizontally. All right, and that's just adjusted those two layers so now that they are perfectly aligned, but I want to make sure my score line stays put. So I need to attach. Attach is like using it, well, it actually looks like a paper clip. So you think about it as a paper clip. I just want to make sure that when the score line scores, it's going to score exactly where I've paper clipped it, or I've got that in that holding position, okay? And now that is our base layer that is going to perfectly fit, and I'll just move this to the front, that is perfectly going to fit our card once, of course, it's folded closed. And we can effectively fold this piece, and then we're going to attach, or we would attach this main image to the very front of the card. Okay. Are there any questions in regards to that before I move on? Just going to have a look at your comments. Hi Carmen, thanks for joining. How are you? Good, I hope. If you've come late, don't worry, you can watch a replay after this live ends. Okay, so I don't think there's any questions there. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so the one thing that I wanted to call out as well with this image is that we can see here that there's got, I'll just blow it up a little bit. You can see there that it's got a TM for trademark. So what you want to do is actually, that's in the black layer. If I select the black layer in my layers panel and then go to contour. Now contour, if you don't know what that is, enables you to hide or show layers or parts of an image. So what I can do, if I click on the M and click on the T, and you can do it in either way on the image or by selecting it on the right hand side, that is going to either show, or in this case, hide that particular part of the image. So now you can see if I make this bigger again, I've got no TM for trademark. If you don't remove it, it'll cut. Basically, you'll have a tiny little T and a tiny little M, which is fine. It's not going to hinder your design ultimately, but probably not what you're trying to achieve in this particular instance. Okay, so that's how we would design a shaped card. Pretty simple, I hope. If you've got any questions, again, post them in the comments and I will get back to you. But what I also wanted to show you is the way that I piece together my really complex images with all these teeny tiny little white pieces. Actually, what I should do firstly is, now that I've got everything designed, I want to make sure that, of course, I've got the sizing correctly. So what I did when I made this design is I just moved my main image down below. I Command or Control A or drag over to select all, and then I went to my width panel at the top and I did 1.5. So that ultimately my card is going to be 11.5 inches wide, and that's exactly what this card is here. So now we've got the image that is 11.5, and because I selected all, or you could also group, that means that everything adjusts and stays in proportion to the other elements. Okay, the reason that I move this image at the bottom to the bottom is that so ultimately I'm concentrating on the width of that main base card piece. Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell. But let me show you this other technique, or this other thing that I do. So I'm just going to ungroup. I'm just going to move this out the way. Move this out the way. Okay. So I just want to show you what I do. And again, I'm just going to blow this up so you can see it easier. Ultimately, what I want to do is I'm going to create a stencil. Okay, a stencil that's going to enable me to puzzle piece all of these white pieces together exactly where they're supposed to be. Now, you could cut this out of a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock and use that as your stencil, but I find it's easier to create this smaller stencil, and I'm going to show you how I do it, and then I'm going to actually show you how I construct the image. So I'm just going to choose my white layer, just so I can sort of see those dimensions there. I'm going to come across to our shapes. I'm going to grab a square. Okay, now ultimately I want my square to be larger than the white pieces. Yeah, so obviously if I make it big like this, I can see that it's big enough, it's going to cover that space. But I'm going to show you another little trick today, and this was the Karen Kelly or KK method. So Karen, if you're watching, I'm giving you full credit. If I go up to line type on the top of my menu options, I'm going to change this to draw. Now when I change it to draw, of course I can now see through it, and that's just going to enable me to really position that to a point where I'm like, yep, no, that's perfect. It's nice and centered. It's just going to be easier when I'm using that stencil if ultimately it's right in the middle of my square rather than being a little bit higgledy-piggledy. Then I can change it back to cut, and it's going to disappear. But then I'm going to hold down my control or my command key in the layers panel. I'm now selecting the white layer as well. So I've got my shape and I've got my white layer selected, and I'm going to, actually no I'm not, I'll do it a bit simpler. I'm going to ungroup my image here, and I'm just going to move all the pieces I don't want. This will be easier visually to be able to see what we're doing. I'll get rid of the red. Okay, and then I'm just going to select these two, and then I'm going to attach. Now they change to a weird color. I'm just going to change that back to white. So ultimately it's going to cut in exactly the same way as it would anyway. It's just that ultimately it's now going to give me this really nice square outline that I can just pop on top of my image and then puzzle piece all of those little details back together to get a really good finish. So I hope that makes sense. Let me just jump to the comments. I'll just go back to the main menu. Let me know if it's not making sense. Ricky, you're going to use this method for your Christmas cards. Excellent. Christmas cards. Brilliant. Excellent. I really hope that was easy. Once you do the first one, you'll nail it, and you'll be amazing at it. So now we're going to go to the split screen. So here we've got my mat. Now I'm just going to quickly take my first two layers. So here's my card. Again, it literally is, we're going to piece together the top layer, and then I glued that onto my card base that we created. Today what I've done is just blown up this large image because I just want to show you in detail how it kind of goes together. If I did it on a small card, you just wouldn't be able to see it. So it's the same image, it's just I've made it, I think, did I do 10 inches? Yeah, 10 inches wide, just so you could see it. And ultimately I'll give this to my son and he can hang it on his wall. It'll be really, really cool. You could use foam dots to prop some of this up as well if you wanted some dimension. I'm just going to do it very much two-dimensional. The Kyuko I talked about, or Kokuyo, is from Officeworks. It's called a dot liner. It's a glue runner. And I've just run out, of course, so let's one. I won't refill it now because that'll waste time. But what's great about this is normally when it's full, when I lay down the glue, it's in tiny little dots, and if you make a mistake, you can just rub it out. But I'll just use my liquid glue. The liquid glue that I use is Scotch. Sorry, get this in camera. Is Scotch tacky glue. You can get it from Craft Online, some other craft stores as well. And I put it into a really little fine tip bottle, and that enables me to get really precise when I'm gluing bits together. And of course that is now blocked as well. So let me grab a pin. Probably should have checked the tools before I started today, but that's okay. The joys of live crafting. Alright, so I'm just going to put some glue down. Not being too fussy. Make sure you put the glue lids back on. Okay, so just make sure this is going together. Oops. The good thing about using a liquid glue as well is that you do get a bit of wiggle room, so you can sort of move it around if you make a mistake. One of the reasons why I love Scotch tacky glue so much is that if you do get a little bit that comes out from the sides or anything like that, it dries really, really nice and clear. So it won't stain your design, which is good. Shivani, hope I'm saying that right. Shivani, you're asking, what was the hide feature again? It's called contour, and it's on the bottom right with slice, weld, and attach. The next one will be contour in Cricut Design Space. That's obviously in the desktop version. It is available as well in the app, but I can't recall whether it's edit or whatever, but it's in there. So here's my stencil, all right? So you can see it's a lot of pieces that need to be pieced together here. And what's great about this now is that I can just pop this on and sort of center up where I think it needs to go. I can sort of have a look underneath. You could be a little bit more precise when you're doing the designing as well with this, to help you get it in exactly the right spot. But, you know, I just tend to eyeball a lot of things. And then what I can do is I can start piecing all of my white pieces into all of these negative spaces. Now you could potentially tape this down maybe with washi tape as well. Hopefully you can see that this is easier than using potentially the whole 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. So I'm not going in any particular order. I'm going to maybe just do a couple of center pieces, and that's kind of just going to anchor my design a little bit. So I'm just putting little dots of glue. This is how I glue everything, just teeny tiny little dots like this. You can use your pickup tool. I've talked about this a lot. This is actually a silhouette called Pick Me Up. I got it from Craft Online. It's got like blue tack on the end, and I can just dab and pick up my pieces. Really, really good if you've got something that's really fine. You can see here now I'm just going to pop that into my stencil. There we go, and then we'll just keep going. So we're just going to add, so I'll try and go as fast as I can, so it's not too boring for you. And try to put them out on display in the similar sort of order that they kind of go in. Okay. And there's the under eye. And again, like you can imagine when I did this card, the card was so small that it would have been absolutely horrible when I finished my design. Would have been just a mess. There's no way I could have got the precision that I needed to get the ultimate result. We'll do these cheeks. Again, just trying to get it looking right. I also cut with textured side down. So in this instance, I have my textured side on the front of the card because I want that textured look. So I mirror my design when I'm actually doing the cutting. So textured side down for me, mirror my design, and then I just flip it around the right way with the texture on the front, and it's all as I intended it. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please, please, please subscribe, then you won't miss out on any of our Thursday night lives and also any other times that I'm live. If you're not following Natalie, Nat's Crafty Life, and myself on Instagram and Facebook as well, then please, please, please do. This file, if you want to make this file, again, you will have to pay for the image. But if you want to make this card, you can go to my ScissorsPaperPaul page on Facebook, and it is there. It's on there already, and you are welcome to make the card. But again, you will have to pay for the image. So, full disclosure. Okay, almost there. Yes, so everyone loves it when I pull out the old Pick Me Up tool. If you're a card maker, my goodness, you need this in your life. It's just so handy. Again, imagine doing something really dainty. You can just, pick everything up and glue it down, which is good. Make sure I'm getting that right side round. So hopefully you can see the benefits of using this technique with obviously not only making your cards but actually gluing them together. Ooh. Try not to get glue on your own fingers. And pull the pieces off. Right, almost there. 2 more pieces to go. The other thing, it's when Spotlight have their 40% off full price item. If you're a card maker, the one thing that I cannot live without is my envelope. We Are Memory Keeper's envelope tool. You can make envelopes, of course, very easily in Cricut Design Space. But what's great about the We Are Memory Keepers tool is that you can make any size envelope that you want, every weird and wonderful design out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper or cardstock. Sure that's down. All right, almost there. Thanks for your patience. I promise it'll be hopefully worth it. I myself made an absolute disaster of it. There we go. And eyebrows. Almost got it around the wrong way. It's a good thing about textured cardstock as well. You can work out which is correct and which isn't. I'm going to just peel that off now. Alright, so now I can hopefully remove my stencil. Just go slowly because some of the glue may have leaked out a little bit, seeped out a bit. Just not going to pull up any of those bits that are supposed to be there. Oops. And there is my face, perfectly aligned. A little bit of glue there, that'll dry. And then my stencil, obviously I can just pop that in the bin, and we'll do the final little pieces here. So we've got some lips. Can't have them going without his cheeky red lips. You can just piece those in as you would normally, the old-fashioned way. And then we'll pop in these guys, and then we are done. So again, I just use dots of glue, as you've noticed. Everything is still connected that I've made. I've got cards in my stash from quite some time ago, and they're still together. And now I'll just pop this on. Okay, just flip it over and give it a bit of a sandwich press. And our last piece, we are done skiing. Now next week as well, I'll tell you about what's happening next week's live in a sec. So just make sure I'm putting this in the right spot. And there he is. So there is my big giant version compared to the little card version. But again, like they're both exactly the same, identical. Such a great technique. You're going to nail it every time. So I'm going to pop that on my son's wall, and hopefully he loves that. So I'm going to have a look at some of your comments. I mentioned this earlier, if you're not following me, please subscribe. Hit a like if you got something out of the video as well. And then Nat's Crafty Life and ScissorsPaperPaul on Instagram, Facebook, and the Tube. And again, if you subscribe and ring the bell, then you're always going to know when we're going live. So let's go back to the main camera. And thanks, Carmen. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you like him. He's so cute, but evil. I actually wanted to make this as a mask for Book Week for my son, but the school's got a theme, so I'm not allowed to, which is a bit of a shame. Okay, Bernie, I'm glad you worked it out. If you've got any other questions, let me know. Ricky, excellent. I'm glad that you got something out of it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kerry. I appreciate the feedback. Hey, Melissa. Yeah, don't worry. You can watch it on the replay. As soon as I finish here, you can basically watch it back again. Sometimes it takes a while to sort of drop into YouTube, but if you've got the link, you can go straight there. Lisa found that really useful. Thanks, Lisa, for letting me know. So satisfying to watch. Awesome. Okay, guys, again, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Next week, on the actual Thursday, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Don't forget that. But Nat will be live she'll be on YouTube as well. But she will be live and she will be... what is she doing? She is doing, oh my gosh, it's so cute. She's going to do a Halloween themed cloche, I think they're called. You know, those glass domey things. It looks super cool and super spooky. Perfect for Halloween, so make sure you tune in for that. And in fact, Halloween, perfect for shaped cards as well, nice and spooky. So have a wonderful day, have a fabulous end of weekend, and I will see you super soon. Take care. See you later. Bye.